Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And it's time for Playa Props on a Friday night. Nate is back in action as I was flying solo dolo yesterday on these player props. Went 3-1 for you guys, so we'll see if Nate can help us get back to 4-0. Stay super sizzling hot on these. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. We are bringing you these picks each and every weekday of this regular season. Also want you to head to thelines.com. Go ahead and check out all of our written content up there for the picks that Nate throws up there, as well as our odds finder tool that you can use to make sure you're shopping those lines, getting the best juice back on all these NBA player props and game totals and such. Nate, let's go ahead and get into your first NBA player prop for tonight.
Yeah, it's a game we talked about, the Nets and Hawks, and kind of contrarian. We like the under for the game, but like the over for some of the big stars out here, especially Kevin Durant, who's just, 27.5 points. It was closer to 29.5 before Kyrie really started cooking. But this is a better matchup for Durant, or at least has been in the past. I mean, great matchup for both of them, to be honest. But Durant, in his last four against Atlanta, 37.5 points per game on a 33% usage. He had 55 the last time these teams met in April. Higher usage rate at home for Durant, 32%. He's scoring 31 at home versus 28 on the road. His last seven in general, filling it up with 32.5 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. He has 5+ assists in 10 straight games. So, he is the offense. Kyrie is the off guard, and Durant is your point small forward. So you can combine the points, 27.5 with assists if you want. I mean, I think I just take the points straight up. And, I mean, that's pretty much the long and short of it. I mean, I don't love any of the player performance doubles for Durant because it's like he's expected to get 30. But that tells you what you need to know about betting for 27.5. It's like the only way this doesn't hit is if Atlanta drops only 89 points like they did last game out against the Knicks. But I think now that they understand they don't have DeJounte Murray for an entire game, they'll be a little bit more prepared schematic-wise to run around Trae Young like they have the past few seasons. And I think they will score enough to force Durant to be a factor down the stretch.
Yeah, I'm looking at that same game parlay with you when you've got a situation where it's two teams that have stars that can still score and nobody else that you feel comfortable about scoring right now. Plus, both teams are playing better on defense than they are on offense anyway, especially the Nets. So you expect this game to be a little bit slower, but KD can thrive in any situation. If you're going to be a 2-point mid-range scorer predominantly, you don't need to play at a super strong pace to be as efficient as he is, shooting better than 50% from there. So I'm going to go under on a guy that seems a little odd in a game where the Knicks are playing the Hornets, and the Hornets do not play defense, and the Knicks have been going over on their totals. But Julius Randle, his points is at 23.5 tonight. His PRA 37.5. I would go under on both of those, Nate. 23.5 minus 105 on DK if you go under there for the points. He is coming off a huge game against the Hawks, a team that we just spoke about is backsliding its ass off, 34-17, but he's also done that multiple times in the last 2 or 3 seasons against the Hawks, just dominating them, especially the last few rounds. But if you look at the last 10 games or so for Jay Randle as well, the teams that he is scoring and getting these props on are the teams that are not good at defending the paint, as opposed to the teams that are good at defending the paint, right? So Cleveland and Milwaukee, 2 teams he did not do well against. Memphis also with Steven Adams in there, and Jaren Jackson Jr. played in that game, unable to get anywhere close to this prop, either of these props in terms of points or the PRA. But then, when he's playing against a team like Atlanta or Detroit, and even Portland to a degree, he kind of goes off a bit more. So I think there's some clear correlation there. You've also got his last 4 against Charlotte, just doesn't look good. 16.5 points per game, 7 boards, and 4 assists. Really stark, shooting 36% from the field with a 96 individual offensive rating in 35 minutes. So, PJ Washington seems to be a pretty good matchup for him, even if he's not a great matchup for other guys down low being undersized. This is a guy that's closer to his size. Obviously, in his last 3 home games, PJ's got basically a defensive rating of 95 in all those games individually. And that's a huge reason why Charlotte's allowing 7th fewest points per games to power forwards. PJ Washington really moved off of that 5 spot that he was playing small ball and not working last season, and is now alongside obviously Mason Plumlee for the most part. So I think him guarding Julius Randle is not great for Jay Randle in this one, and they're gonna have to find other ways to win in a game. I think they'll still be able to pull out, but not because Jay Randle is going to be putting the ball in the net.
Yeah, last game it was really a cold night for Brunson, and Randle picked up the slack. But
yeah,
that could be reversed based on the matchup you're looking at, where Charlotte's just terrible against guards, and really good against power forwards. Yeah, PJ, those aren't his last three home games, but they are his last three in this kind of matchup against like a team that has a big power forward. They're against Milwaukee, Minnesota, and Philly. He struggled against Washington and the Clippers, who are spread you out. Kuzma, Paul George if he's active, whatever. They're going to spread you out at the four and make you guard in space. But the Knicks are not spreading anybody out, so that's why Randle's, I think, struggled in this matchup. Look, yeah, I said I wanted to take Nola here at +2 at home against the Suns. I know the Suns are unlikely to lose 3 straight games. I mean, they certainly wouldn't like to, but I don't know if they have a choice in the matter because I think New Orleans is the best team in the West right now. Both ends of the floor, really good when Zion's out there. They've won 8 of their last 9 at home, the exception being against Boston, which cannot lose. So Zion is at 25.5 points, and the odds are not great there. But so why not just take 25 points in a win, and then all of a sudden you go from -120 to +220? Because the Pels, I mean, this is their path to victory, especially with Brandon Ingram out, is feeding Zion early and often. You're looking at a Suns defense that's been kind of a sieve, and at least in these last 3, I mean, 2 of them being blowout losses to Dallas and Boston, but 22nd in defensive efficiency and 26th in 2-point percentage allowed. So that's key. Zion, of course, just getting whatever he wants and facilitating. He has 34 free throw attempts in his last 3 games. And, I mean, who's supposed to stop him? Torrey Craig, DeAndre Ayton too slow. I mean, there's nobody in the league that's really a good matchup for him. It's just a question of the Pelicans being challenged long enough for him to have that higher usage rate. He's putting up 25 in 25 minutes sometimes. So I think it's a good time to take Zion and the Pels.
Zion time. Yeah, it feels right. Man, we thought Phoenix was going to keep going when they got smacked by Boston, and guys like Zion and even Tatum and Brown. Really, Brown did a lot of the work early as well in terms of just being athletic and driving right to the rim. So seems like pretty accurate that a guy with that type of skill set, magnified in terms of Zion, would be able to have the same kind of success driving right down the lane. So I'm actually going to finish off the props here, Nate, with another Pelly here and Joval. And this seems a little bit counterintuitive, maybe, but I think Joval's stats tonight are going to be helped by the fact that he's going to get minutes. And that's been the case when he plays. I mean, that's been the case for him on the Pellies in general, is when he gets minutes, he does well. His per 36 numbers remain pretty strong. Oftentimes, it's a matter of can he stay on the floor or not. And so I think tonight you've seen what he can do against DeAndre Ayton in his career, and you feel pretty good about the way that he's played against the Suns. So I'm going over 23.5 points and rebounds in 9 career games versus DA versus Ayton, 28.8 minutes per game, which is the crucial thing there to me. 26.5% usage rate in those games as well against DeAndre Ayton, which is much higher than what he's got normally this season, about 20%. 20.7 points per game, so basically 21 and 12 for Joval over his career against DA, and it's the only 3 fouls a game as well, which is crucial, like I say, to him staying on the floor. When he gets those minutes, then he gets those stats. So in his last 10 overall, he's covered this prop 6 times. The 4 times that he didn't even get 22 minutes in the game. He only played 21 or fewer minutes, fouling out in 2 of those games. So DA is not a guy that makes you foul out. He doesn't cause fouls on the other team. It's jump hook, mid-range, jump hook, mid-range, and then I'll stand over you, even though I've never dunked on anybody in the league. So I think Phoenix bottom 10 in allowing opponents, opposition centers to score and rebound, just because DA is not really like that tough. And that, I mean, he's a presence for sure, better than nothing down low, but it's not like he's an enforcer in any way. So as long as Joval stays on the floor, I expect him to continue getting the points and rebounds that he's been getting against Ayton and the Suns in his career.
Yeah, and Chris Paul looked pretty rusty, and Devin Booker's cooled off at least a little bit. He's had some trouble against the Pels. I wish Herb Jones was playing to guard him if you were going to take the Pelicans. But I mean, I just think that leads to more rebounds. And like you said, yeah, he can stay on the floor against Ayton. If Jose Alvarado's active, that's going to be key in terms of keeping CP3 less efficient as he's had been out for a few weeks. So I think you just kind of watch that injury news, and if Alvarado's in there or not, I mean, yeah, I think take the Pelicans and then the Suns can figure it out when they play again at 3:30 on Sunday, which is a much more weird spot. I think the Pels handle this one on Friday night.
It makes a lot of sense, yeah. And I think you're going to have to break Jose Alvarado's ribs to keep him out of this game. He is questionable right now, but it feels like he's going to want to play against CP3 the way he loved playing against him in the playoffs last year. So that is all the time we have in our props video today. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. We will be back with you guys each and every weekday this regular season. So until we see you next, happy betting.